Hi everyone! In this video, I'll show you how to assemble my Father's Day 3D trophy. I love this project. I think it's really cute. If you're watching this video in Design Space, then you already found my project. If you're watching on YouTube, check the description right under this video. You'll find a link to my Design Space profile where I share all my projects. I will add a link to my Facebook group also in case you'd like to join if you haven't already. This is the finished trophy that you see in the thumbnail for the video. I think it turned out really cute. I'm going to add some shredded straw to it and chocolates and do a nice cellophane wrap with a bow around it. These badges that I've made, this one is blue and silver to go with the silver trophy. These badges are also available on my Design Space profile page if you want to use them. So I just wanted to show you quickly how it turned out. I think it's very cute. I'm making two for my sons, for my grandchildren to give their dads for Father's Day. So I've already done some of the folding to make the video a little shorter because it is a long process. So this is the very base of the base, the bottom. So I've already adhered it all, glued it all, because it goes together the same way as the 2-inch base. So it wasn't necessary to show you both. We have the badge, we'll put that aside. In the cuts you have 4 hexagons. I'm using 80-pound cardstock, but I find that it's still a little flexible, so it's a little more difficult to add the sides. So I like to put 2 together, put it that way. I like to put 2 together to make it a little stronger. Once the adhesive dries, it gives you more strength to work on. So I think I'll do that right away so it can dry while I'm showing you the other parts. I'm using Tombow adhesive. I'm not crazy about this one. It's water-based. I prefer the white, but I ran out and I had 2 of these water-based on hand. So rather than running out to the store on a busy Saturday morning, I decided just to use the water base for this. As long as you don't use too much, it's not bad. If you use too much, you get it'll warp your cardstock, the water base. So you just have to be gentle with it. Don't use too much. So there's one. Let's put the second one together. I just want to get the sides right. This is 80-pound Cricut cardstock. And one side is textured and one side is flatter, and I find there's a slight difference in the color between the 2 sides, so I'd like to get them on the same side. Mind you, these pieces are completely covered. You won't see them anyway, but there we go. So that gives us 2 hexagons. That's what we need to put the top and bottom together. So we'll let those dry so we can start working with them right away. There we go. Okay, then you have 6 pieces for the bottom of the trophy. The bottom of the trophy has score on 3 sides. They're folded on 3 sides. When you're doing the scoring, you want to make sure that you're always scoring to one side, whether it's right or left. You want to make sure that you're always folding to one side. Don't have one right, one left, another one right, another one left, because then when you put it together, you won't have your tabs in the right place to glue and you'll end up with gaps. So you want to make sure you fold everything in the same direction. These longer ones are for the top of the trophy, and they only have 2 folds. And on these, I folded everything to the left because, again, I found I put one of the cardstocks on with the flat side up, and it's a slightly different color. So I just turned over the cuts and folded them to the left. As long as they're all to one side, I'm fine. So that's the bottom and the top of the trophy. And these are the optional handles. So you have a score line where it goes on the trophy and at the top. So you can use them or not. That's completely up to you if you don't want to put handles on it. So the whole process, it looks like a lot of pieces, but it's actually quite quick to put together. So this is the thicker part of the base. It's this part. The smaller piece goes on the bottom of it. And you can use both or just the thicker one or just the smaller one if you prefer. So let's just make some room. So we're just going to fold all the score lines. You'll see how that works. Very simple, and I'm using Cricut craft board for the base, and I'm not going to burnish it with a bone folder because I don't want to crack the cards in the craft board. So put it here. Okay, so you can see we have 3 sides folded in. On the 4th one, we're going to fold it out, not in. And the reason why we're folding it out is because when we put the box together, we're going to take this extra piece and we're going to adhere it on so that it becomes a cube, not a box. Just like this one. So we have those all scored, all folded. We'll fold our sides. There we go. And all we're going to do to assemble is to adhere the sides. You want to do them nice and straight because it's really a visible part. It's not like it's covered with a lid like a box. So you want to get these on nice and straight. Did I just drop my adhesive? There we go. These take a while to dry. With the water-based adhesive, it's slower, I find, than the white glue. That should be fine. No, still a little loose. And we'll do this one. You know what? I think I'm off camera. There we go. Maybe that's better. Okay, put that one in. It's hard to show you black on black. It's a little more difficult to see. But I'm sure you know exactly what I'm doing. That looks nice and straight. We'll adhere this one. That one on nice and straight. And it's a little long with this water-based glue to adhere. That's why I got the base done in advance, so you won't be sitting through a super long video. Okay, and the last corner. Just wanted to check to be sure I didn't pull apart one of the edges. There we go, the last corner. And I did pull it apart. I have an eraser that I use when I'm all finished to take off any excess glue that I spill or spread around. That looks good. Okay, that should be fine. Okay, so now these three pieces, you're not going to glue them at all at the moment. You're just going to let them be, and you're going to turn the cube over. If I was doing this off camera, I would let this all dry before I turned it over, because I don't want to distort the corners. Okay. And now we have this piece out where we're going to add the cover. So we're just going to add adhesive all over this. And we're going to line this up right up against the score line and center it. Oops, I moved it. That looks better. There we go. I want this to be well adhered. Then we're going to flip it over. This is going to become the cover, so that you have a closed cube for your base. That looks good. So we're just going to, that looks good. Okay, so we're going to put adhesive on these tabs to hold the cover closed. Hold this one down, put some adhesive on it. And then we'll just close the cube and make sure it's all lined up. I'm going to turn it over. To let it dry. So we're just going to set it aside for now. I normally would put a book or something on top of it. I'll put my iPad on top of it just to hold it while it dries. Okay, so we'll assemble the bottom. I actually stopped the video and went out to Michael's to get the Tombow, the white Tombow. I really don't like the water-based one. Maybe some of you do like it. I don't. I find it very runny, and I find that I'm always messy with liquid adhesive, but extremely messy with the water-based one. So this is the base of the trophy. We're going to adhere these pieces. I did 3 already to keep the video a little shorter. I didn't want it to be too long. And you can see that I'm attaching the shorter side to the hexagon. We want that wider finish, which is the base of the trophy, when we attach it to the stand. So I'm just going to add a little adhesive. Along the edge and adhere the shorter side, and you want to make sure that you align them evenly so you get a nice finish. That looks good. I find the white adhesive much easier to work with. It dries faster than the water base. One. We have 2 more. So you have 6 for the base and 6 for the top. Whoops. We'll adhere this one. It's a little awkward to hold on to. And don't worry about any excess adhesive along the top because it's going to be covered. Make sure that's lining up. And the last one. Just a little adhesive along the edge. And we'll attach this one. That looks good. Just make sure it's well adhered. Okay, and I'm just going to sit this on top of my eraser and let it dry while I put together the top. So the top, you can see we're adhering the smaller end, the narrower end, because it's going to fit this way on the base. So we're just going to continue along. I've done 3 already to speed up the video. Whoops, that's a little too much adhesive. Came out too quickly. There we go. And the shorter end. Just line it up on the hexagon. Make sure it's flush. Okay, we have 2 more. It's a little awkward to handle. Make sure that one's flush also. That looks good. And the last one. Make sure it's flush with the hexagon, and that all looks good. Okay, so we have all the sides done. Again, I'm just going to balance this on something to let it dry. Whoops. There we go. Okay, this one should be dry enough to do the sides now. So for the sides, you're just going to add a dab of adhesive along these little edges and bring it down. Don't do anything with these bottom folds. The bottom folds are for attaching to the stand. So we'll just put a little adhesive along that tab and hold it in place for a second. There we go, and we'll continue like that all the way around. The tabs are small, so you need to hold it for a second to make sure it's adhering. Next one. Too much adhesive, we'll just spread that out a little. Continue. We have these two left. It's a long process, but I think they're really cute. I'm sure it's not something you want to do at the very last minute before you're running out the door. But if you take your time to make these, I think they're adorable, and I'm sure they will be appreciated when they're gifted. I believe I mentioned that I'm making these for my grandchildren to give their dads. I will fill them first. And I made them cards that they can sign to go with them. The Father's Day pop-up cards that I shared in Design Space. I made gold and black and the gray and black. The gray is not really silver, but I thought it would be cute. And we have this last one. I'm going to pop it in. I'll put the adhesive on first. That was silly. Put some adhesive on here. The adhesive is coming out really soft, really loose. I think it's the temperature in here, maybe. Okay, and we'll pop that one in. And that's the last one. Okay. And these folds are what we're going to use to adhere the base to the stand. So that just has to dry. Let that dry. And we'll do the same with the top of the trophy. So I'm going to speed up the video. You don't need to watch it again. I'm sure you don't want to watch it again, so I'll speed up the video to go to the next step. Okay, so we have the top and bottom of the trophy done. So what you want to do is find the side that you like the best for your front. Okay, I like that side as my front. And on this one, I found one edge. I didn't like how I adhered the base here, the bottom of it, I should say. So this is going to be covered with my ribbon when I put it on with my badge. So I'm going to use that as the front because I know I can hide it easily with the badge. So I'm going to use that as the front. So it's going to go together like this. Okay, so we're going to add adhesive here. Put some in the center. I put a lot in the center because the center is a little recessed from the edges. And this is going to be my front. So we're just going to adhere those together. Okay, and I want to put weight on it to let it dry. So I'm just going to balance my iPad on it and let it dry. Just make sure that it's nicely aligned and we're all set. Okay, this should be easy enough, good enough to work with now. Just make sure I'm not disturbing it. Okay, that's going to be my front. So I'm going to attach handles. So you'll see that the bottom of the handle is bent right and the top is bent left. So what you want to do is you're going to put your, if you're using handles, you're going to put them on the flat side. You're going to put them on the flat side, and you're going to, if you're adding a badge, you're going to put it on the point. I'll tell you what I did with that after to get it on nice and straight. Okay, so we're going to put a little bit of adhesive, I hope, not too much, on here. And we're going to line this up with the seam in the center with the seam, and we're going to adhere it. So in the center of this flat side and near the seam. We're just going to adhere it there. Hold it for a sec while it dries. Okay, and once we're sure it's dry enough, we're going to add a bit of adhesive on this one, and we're going to curl it up and adhere it about half an inch down, half an inch to quarter inch down, and it will curl like that. And I'm just going to hold it for a second while it dries. So from the seam to the top. I think I need to let this dry some more. Okay, we'll go around to the other side, opposite, of course. Our second handle. Some adhesive. Place it near the joint, the seam, in the center. And just hold it there for a second. I'm going to have to put weight back on this. I didn't let it dry long enough. It should be good. Then we'll just add some adhesive to the top fold. Should be plenty. And we'll adhere on this side. So we just want to check that they're even on both sides. That looks good. That looks good. We just hold them in place. And there we have the handles. Okay, so this is what I'm going to use as my front. So what I did with this badge, it's quite solid, quite heavy. So what I did is I adhered it with hot glue. So I put some hot glue on the center and adhered it on. And once that was on, I found it a little tippy on the folded out seam. So then I just push my hot glue gun behind and put a little here and a little on this side to balance it out nice and flat. So you can see it's nice and flat. It's not moving at all. So that's all, hot glue. If you don't have a hot glue gun, you can always use regular adhesive, I guess. Just adhere it on that pointed seam and then add some extra adhesive on the sides to keep it flat. Or I guess on the sides you could also use maybe puff tape to hold it in place. So I'm going to adhere it to the stand just by adding adhesive to these tabs on the bottom. I'll put some weight on it so it dries, and then off camera I'll attach the badge and I'll add a photo to the end of the video so you can see how it looks. So we'll just put some adhesive on this. Just want to make sure it's well adhered to the stand. I'll put weight on it again and let it dry a good long time. There we go. That should work. Okay, so find the side of the stand that you like best and the front of the trophy that you like best, and then you're just going to center it up on the stand. Get it nice and centered. Okay, I think that's going to work well. That looks centered to me. That looks good. I'm going to put some weight on this, let it dry really well, and I will attach the badge off camera. And here are the finished trophies. I think they're terrific. I love the golden red and the silver and blue. I think these are really sweet, and I think my sons are going to love them. I know my grandchildren will love giving them. So I believe I mentioned I'm going to fill halfway with basket straw in a bright color, and then I'll fill it with chocolates on top. Chocolates or candy, maybe a gift card. So I think these are pretty terrific. I hope you like them. I hope you're going to make some. If you do, please post pictures in my Facebook group. I'd love to see how they turn out. Thank you for watching.